Because I know Sunday afternoons people sometimes are just kind of doing their own things. I get
Right.
that. But
Right.
every now, people pass through. They'll stay for a few minutes, throw some words or two in there. No problem with me. And then this weekend is I thought the first was not Sunday. So I guess got to figure out when I'm gonna do the recap thing.
Yeah, I think the Sunday at the next, right?
Yeah, because usually it's like the first Sunday of the month,
Right.
but that's usually like a couple days into the month.
Right. Into the month.
This time around, it's like the first is actually the Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, we can talk about that later though.
Yeah.
For now, I got the wrestling thing. Where's my little document I had open? The same one I store all my YouTube related things in. It's better than having a bunch of little scrap notepads laying around because I've done that in the past, But
Right. Look, my notepad's over here, so I
see,
know the.
because like I was saying in that YouTube tips video or whatever I made, I'd put everything in the Google Docs and then it just syncs everywhere. It just makes it
Right. Thanks to the phone. Thanks.
yeah.
Yeah. Thanks to the tablets.
So no matter where I am, when I'm thinking like, wait, what was I gonna? Oh yeah, make a little note in there, which was handy today because looking at like the past pay-per-view matches and all that stuff, I was like, man, they had a lot more of these cell matches than I thought they did.
Yeah. I think that's just because what once it started becoming yearly, that's when it started creating more matches.
Because I was looking at it and there was some year, like I think 2001, they
Mm-hmm.
didn't have one, and maybe somewhere else, but for a while, and you probably remember that it was like one a year.
Right.
I don't think it had its own pay-per-view. I'm not
Yeah.
sure, but they had one match per year. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean?
Yeah.
And then some years it kind of ramp up to like two or three. Sometimes
Mm-hmm.
there's like a 6-man match in there somewhere that I like The Rock
Yeah. The Armageddon Hell in a Cell.
and that I was like, man, did I completely miss this or do I just not remember it?
Yeah, that was the one. Undertaker chokeslam Rikishi off of the cell.
Oh, that was that one. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was
Yeah.
looking at it, I'm like, man, why doesn't? Because when you just look at the lineup of a match, you don't
Mm-hmm.
always remember what it is.
Yeah. Highlight. It's usually highlights of the match that you remember for the most part.
Right? Because let me see here. Get this tab open and there's that screen share thing, and I'll put this up there so you see which ones you remember. Let's
Mm-hmm.
see. There we go. So make that a little bigger.
Okay.
Because like just scrolling through here, there was going back from what
98.
yeah 99 oh 97 yeah 97
Yeah.
that's right down through well I guess through this year because they have the ones tonight. There's a fair amount of them. Like
There was
I
wasn't there one on there was one on Raw too, wasn't there?
that sounds right. Let's see. Yeah, well, there's one that was on Raw with
Okay.
Undertaker and Stone Cold versus Mankind and Kane. I don't
Yeah.
even,
Right.
man. And then there's Mankind and Kane again. Like, is that the same year? Yeah,
I
it was a
think so.
couple months later. Hmm. Yeah, so they've had a good number. But we'll get into that. Real quick, though, just so anybody out there watching or whatever, what we're going to be talking about here today is, for one, since Halloween is coming up, we're going to talk about some masked wrestlers, face painted wrestlers, that whole thing, right? Going to talk about the Hell in a Cell matches that have come up in the past, the ones, some predictions for the ones coming up tonight. Same thing goes for Halloween Havoc because I just realized that is going to be on Tuesday now that NXT is reviving that for whatever reason. I don't know why they waited so long because most people, Halloween Havoc is a thing that they liked. So I don't know where it's been. But anyways, we're going to be going over that whole thing. But real quick, Jezzy, go ahead and let people know who you are, where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, appreciate you having me on Shoes Up, Sleeves Down. My name is Jezzy Christ, aka Thriller, also known as Big Easy Jeezy. You can find me on YouTube at the same handle, and you can also find me on IG at Jezzy Christ 1. Do shoe reviews, clothing hauls, pretty much anything dealing with action figures and collectibles. But if you subscribe to my channel already, I appreciate you. And if you're new, hopefully you like the content. And again, thanks for joining us on the chat.
All right. But so off the top though, because we'll come back over to the cell stuff in a bit. But as far as like the wrestlers though, because there've been when I started thinking about it, like thinking about like who had face paint or masks and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You have the ones that like the earlier ones, like say like Legion of Doom or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
And okay, yeah, those guys, like they weren't the first to come to mind, but they kind of should have been, because like they're one of the early ones that were doing that whole thing. But often people will think about like the Boogeyman or something,
Right.
He had the whole Gold Dust, you know what I'm saying? Names like that. Well, what about you? What are some of the ones that whether it's face paints or masks, that stood out to you?
Same as you. I mean, it's not really one of the first ones, but it's still early on. Like Papa Shango. That's one that came to mind. Also, you would think about the Headbangers and.
Oh yeah, I forgot. That was one of my favorite tag teams.
Yeah. Who else? Smashing and Thrasher. Damn, I forgot the.
Was that what was that Demolition?
Demolition, yeah, Demolition.
Yeah.
Demolition, like back in the day, big guys, face paint. Recent, I mean, just what you said. There's been a lot of them. It's just the fact of a lot of them didn't stick like some others did.
Yeah, like because really the only, and it wasn't like because of his amazing matches or whatever, but Doink stuck around,
Right.
But it's Doink, you know what I mean? He was, that's one of those things where he was there at the right time, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because they were still
like the brawl.
Yeah, because they were in that cartoonish phase where everybody had, well, not everybody, but there were a lot of over-the-top gimmicks, people that were doing all kinds of other stuff, you know what I'm saying? And who was it? Like Skinner,
Right.
He had like that chewing tobacco thing going on or whatever he was doing. But yeah, there were a lot of people out there, and of course, Mankind. He was one of the well-known ones. But for me, I didn't even know, because when I got into wrestling, I didn't know, when I started watching, I didn't know any like the backstories of people. I didn't know who had been where. I didn't know how any of it worked. I just accepted that these people were on TV.
And this is who they were.
And that was that. And so one of the earlier times when Mankind's mask got pulled off, or maybe he took it off because, things would happen. And I was like, hey, yeah, like, did you see Raw the other day when something happened? And like, then Mankind, he didn't have his mask on and blah, 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 and this, that. It's like, yeah, he just looks like Cactus Jack, I mean, it's the same guy. I'm like, what? Who? I don't know anything about this.
Right. Well, I think that's one of those situations where, like, if you debut with a mask, once it comes off, it's like that's a taboo thing. The mask is your identity now. So,
yeah.
Like Kane is a perfect example. Like, for the longest we didn't see Kane, that was the mask was pretty much his character. But once it came off, it was like, okay, this is two totally different characters now.
Yeah, that is very true, because Kane, I mean, for one, you can look at Kane and like if you skip ahead 2 to 3 years at a time, like, he's a very different person. But definitely, like, the mask Kane was, even if you take only the times that he was a bad guy, it was still like a different persona for some reason. Something about it was just different,
Right.
it's hard to exactly say why, but
and it was subtle. It was little subtle things like one part of mask would be black, then they reverse it, it's red and black, and like it's just something about it. Like they did little changes with it, I guess, as a character development thing. But like I said, once he took the mouthpiece off, he was originally talking with a talking stick.
with the
with the point.
with
So
X-Pac.
I'm like, this is a whole different progression over time. So.
Oh yeah, and but then looking back at it, because I've seen, looking at like the figures and stuff, I've seen like all kinds of different masks from him. Like he has had a lot of different masks, hasn't he? Because like if you look at the very first one and then you scroll through the years or whatever, it's like, man, they did change a lot. And they have one of his figures that's coming up is pretty cool. They I think it's a Survivor Series line for this year that they're doing.
Yeah.
It's a strange lineup. It's like 4 figures, but he's one of them, and his looks really good. But let me see another example, like you were talking about, for people like having the mask on and kind of like it being like a different persona or whatever. Let's see, this here, Ricochet, but like when he had the whole Prince Puma thing going on, like, I didn't put 2 and 2 together at first because I didn't really know the guy like that.
Right.
But then, because I was watching Lucha Underground, but then when it went off the air, or I stopped having the channel that had it or whatever, and I'll see him later, I was like, huh, this, you kind of see it, but you don't, you know what I'm saying? And then he says, like, yeah, because when I had the mask on and I was doing the Prince Puma thing, then blah, 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 and you're like, that was him, wasn't it? I mean, he had a good thing going. It's just, it makes sense though for him to be over there in Lucha Underground,
right,
kind of fit in. He's already had the ring style.
I mean, even if you go back to like this when I was going back into the luchador phase, like looking at the old school New Japan, seeing Eddie Guerrero wearing his him against like Chris Benoit back in New Japan, he was Black Liger at the time. So I mean, like a lot of wrestlers have histories of wearing masks during their match. So I mean, it's not nothing new. It's just new to certain
right,
the individuals just getting into it.
And who was it? There was sometimes people change the mask.
Yeah,
they keep a mask. They just change it and they change names. Because I was watching one of the matches earlier today with it was from the Halloween Havoc '97. It was Guerrero versus Mysterio, and someone made the comment about how when Mysterio started, he had a different name, different mask, that whole thing, and then later on he became Mysterio. That was that Kane figure I was talking about. So yeah, Kane, they would change his whole. I forgot they would change his whole suit, really.
Right. Like
I think his first.
Then he had the one sleeve, one no sleeve, and then he went to the leotard.
Yeah, and his music, was it his music changed a bit too? I think it did.
It did. Yeah, it did.
But I mean, all in all, the dude stuck around as Kane from '97 up until I think his last match was last year, right?
Yeah. What it was
that overseas somewhere?
Yeah, Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, man, that I'm gonna skip over that.
Yeah. Not a match you want to end off on.
Oh no, not at all. Yeah, we'll have to talk about that another time though. But yeah, there's been some pretty good names out there under the masks, under the paint, all that good stuff. And Sting being another example of like a full-on shift, going from like, he's the same person, he just has a different vibe to him, he
right.
I remember why he went away. You might. Do you remember what happened? Like between the colors and the black and white?
What it was? No, I can't remember it. What it was? It's probably gonna come to me later on. I can't even remember why he left. But I remember why he took the mask off. That was a match he had with Triple H. That was a title versus mask match they had with Triple H, and he lost. So he had to take the mask off.
Yeah, because that's the thing. I don't remember. There's certain areas where I wasn't really watching, and even though like when you're not watching, sometimes certain things you hear about later because they hold enough weight. You know what I'm saying? And not saying that doesn't, but some stuff you just don't hear about. It just doesn't get brought up very often.
Yeah.
Either way, once he did change, and he started doing like the black and white and everything, that was the game changer. But then it built up a feud that with him and Hogan that didn't really do anything.
Oh well, I mean, how long did they make how long that was? A year before he even had a match?
It was something like that. Yeah, because it was Starrcade. Was it 97 or 98?
Yeah, I just want to say I think WCW is just famous for playing off of movies, because I think The Crow came out that year or something like that. The Crow came out, and that's what started the whole black and white thing.
Yeah, WCW also had RoboCop for a while. First, with Sting, actually.
And these Mortal Kombat characters that they had, Glacier.
Oh yeah, Wrath and Mortis. Yeah, I liked them. Okay, well, if I were to watch a match of theirs right now, I don't know if I like them. But at the time, I will say in that era, I thought that they were cool. But, and that was one thing, WCW they had some pretty good tag teams. But I think that we were on one of these a while ago when we saw that a lot of their tag champs were mostly just random people.
Right.
But they had a lot of good tag teams on Saturday night and stuff. So you'd kind of think so why wasn't like Ming and the Barbarian going against like Wrath and Mortis for the titles and stuff? Instead, it's like, well, this month it's going to be Luger and Scott Hall taking on Scott Norton and Vincent. It's like,
right.
It's like, what? It's like,
right. It made no sense at the time.
No, not a lot at all. But anyways, but past that though, let me find where those okay. So still on the subject of WCW though, since we're there right now, how much do you remember about the Halloween Havocs, if any of them?
I mean, I wasn't too big. I'm gonna be real. I wasn't too big into like the WCW pay-per-views as I was like the WWF at the time pay-per-views. I do know it was more on the line as a Starrcade, like Starrcade, Survivor Series, and all those other ones. I know it was a big deal at the time. What it was, Great American Bash.
Yeah, because I guess everybody has their. I think everybody has their top 3 or 4. Like you have your pay-per-views every month, but they don't all really carry the weight.
They don't really stick. I think what it was, Halloween Havoc 90, I want to say 97, 98, probably was one of the bigger ones at the time.
Yeah, I was just about to pull that one up. Is that it? Yeah, because this is because I don't remember a lot about most of them, honestly. Actually, you know what? I'll start with 97 because that was the first one that I knew about because I didn't start watching until 97. But just looking at this one, this is where they had the Eddie Guerrero and Mysterio match. And that one, if you haven't seen that was pretty good. Especially,
it's not where Mysterio was wearing the purple outfit.
Yeah, right? Similar to what because Seth Rollins wore something based on that like a month or 2 ago at a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
But that one was good. But then you look at some of this stuff like Alex Wright versus Steve McMichael and Jacqueline versus Disco Inferno. And I look at this and it makes me think like, this could be why I didn't pay as much attention to WCW a lot of the time. This Kurt Hennig, Ric Flair was probably pretty decent though.
Yeah.
And then, Luger was Scott Hall and let's see. Savage and DDP. I vaguely remember them having a feud. Do you remember anything about that?
No, the Randy Savage and Diamond Dallas Page thing, I do remember like snippets of that. But let me see what it was. Roddy Piper and Hulk Hogan. A submission match.
That what?
Oh no, I see by submission.
Oh, yeah, okay. I was about to say, like, Piper's the only one that kind of had a submission, and that's
he had that sleeper hold.
Yeah. But just looking at this though, one of the things that I remembered earlier, so I was listening to a podcast, the Chick Foley one, a couple of weeks ago or something, and they were talking about Macho Man and how he had that deal with Slim Jim, right?
Right.
And apparently, like, Slim Jim, for the most part, on his first WCW contract or whatever, most or all, I think all of his money came from them because he had such a deal with them. You know what I'm saying? So that's why when you watch things like Halloween Havoc 97, there's Slim Jim stuff all over the ring, you know? So like they had like the ring posts were made like Slim Jims. They had the things in the actual mat and on the apron and stuff.
I want to say he had I want to say it was an episode of Baywatch he was on. They had like it was him, Flair, Hogan, and somebody else, and like it was Slim Jim to everything throughout the arena. So I mean, Slim Jim had to be paying him a lot of money at that time.
And that's the crazy thing, you know, like given that he was such a big name or whatever, and to basically be able to make that connection with Slim Jim, who was a huge name as well, kind of said a lot, you know. So that's definitely good on him to be able to pull that off. But let's see. So then with 98, and we'll just stop with 98 on this one. But this one, what was this? Oh yeah, the Hogan and Warrior thing was the big one about that.
Okay.
I'm sure you remember that debacle, right?
Yeah, when he came back.
That was, oh man, like it seemed bad at the time, but now it's like whenever I hear people talk about it, they talk about how bad it really was.
I mean, it was bad. Just the build up alone was bad. It was, I don't know, it was like, it was past, you ever seen something past its prime? Like, you had so many opportunities to do this, but it's like, why start here? Like, no build up. It was just Warrior in a long trench coat.
Yeah, it was. And then, slight sidebar on that, like, he had that trap door, and to my understanding, from what I've seen in a few articles or whatever, that door caused some injuries for people because they would get slammed on it because maybe they didn't know where it was in the ring. And I think that's what happened, or what triggered one of British Bulldog's injuries, was getting hit on that door.
Yeah.
And then that, you know, brought in some extra painkillers and stuff, and we see how that whole thing played out.
Right.
Now, I'm not going to say the Ultimate Warrior killed him. However, he had a hand in it, you know.
Technically.
Like I'm sure he didn't mean it, you know, but you can't overlook it.
Well, I mean, look, accidents happen in the ring. They already discussed that a few times.
Yeah, they definitely do. Speaking of accidents, Goldberg, who had an accident in the ring with Bret Hart once.
Yeah.
Went against DDP. I in a way, I want to watch that match to see how it was, because Goldberg's matches weren't good.
No, I mean, it was pretty much anybody who wrestled Goldberg had to carry the match. Like, even all the way up until his last match with who it was? Braun Strowman.
Oh, yeah. Oh my God. It's like, if you couldn't go the distance 20 years ago, you can't do it now.
Right.
And like, Vlogging with Demetrius jumped in in the chat there. But the thing is, it's like the one time that seems to be somewhat famous, that he got in the ring with somebody who wasn't just gonna go through the motions and lay down for him was William Regal. Did you ever see clips of that match?
Yeah, the William Regal versus Goldberg match. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think Regal got fired or something after that.
Yeah, I think he did. Yeah, he actually did. He got fired a month. I want to say a month later.
But I mean, it's William Regal, and apparently, like, I don't know if they just wanted to test him or what, but people were saying that he kind of had a reputation for, like, he liked to work a certain way, you know?
Yeah.
And I get that. Like, if this guy's the face of your company and doesn't quite deserve to be because he's got some holes in his game, like, hey.
You're just gonna, yeah. I mean, like I said, that's nothing new. Wrestlers working stiff with other wrestlers. That's nothing new.
Right.
I mean, who's famous for it? Bradshaw's famous for it. The Dudley Boys is famous for it. I think just because that's who they are, like their name.
Yeah.
It probably held a little more weight as comparison in the company, but I mean that's nothing new. Bob Holly.
Oh yeah. Look, I've also heard that Bob Holly, like, he was also a pretty tough dude from what I saw. Because there was a match with him and Rob Van Dam where, like, a table broke wrong and, like, just cut up his back pretty bad, and he just went on through it. It looked bad though.
Yeah, but it was a pretty deep cut on his back.
Yeah, and what else was on here? Hall versus Nash, Bret Hart versus Sting, Rick Steiner and Bagwell versus the Giant and Scott Steiner. Let's see, Kidman versus Disco Inferno, Saturn versus Lodi, Alex Wright versus Fit Finlay. Man, this whole card looks bad.
Yeah.
Like, I remember seeing, like, the Chris Jericho. I don't know if I watched it when it happened or not, but the Chris Jericho versus Raven was the only thing that I had wanted to see going into this. And looking at this now, it's the only spot where I could see myself back then looking for anything even remotely good to happen. Because Bret Hart has been kind of screwed as far as everything.
Right.
And so wasn't looking for anything out of that. Yeah. And then they just ended up going out of business not too long later.
Right. That's why I was saying, I'm like, around that time, that was when, like, WWE had, like, a strong, like, if they were winning the Monday Night Wars, I'm talking about WCW, they pay-per-views usually, like, sucked in comparison to, like, a WWE pay-per-view.
Oh, yeah. Definitely did. I can see that now. Like, just looking through that, I'm like, yeah, that's enough for Halloween Havoc. But I'm sure some of the earlier ones, actually, let me look at some of the earlier ones, because I'm sure, even though it aged like milk on a summer day, I'm sure some of the earlier ones were hopefully pretty good, right? Because it started, what, like 92, 93, 90. Yeah, so, I mean, looking back at this, like, Hogan and Flair, Nasty Boys versus Terry Funk and Bunkhouse Buck. I don't know who that is. Vader, and I don't know who the Guardian Angel is. Hacksaw Jim Duggan and Steve Austin. Dustin Rhodes, Arn Anderson. Okay, this one could have been pretty good. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Johnny B. Bad and the Honky Tonk Man. That just makes sense to have that match. So I can see how it may have had some shine to it in the earlier WCW days.
Right.
And then later on, it just became something bad.
Something else.
Yeah, they just lost control. I mean, there's a whole podcast devoted to the downfall of WCW. So
is Jim Cornette affiliated with it?
No, this was the Bischoff one, 83 weeks.
Okay.
But Jim Cornette. Actually, you know what? I listen to a lot of Jim Cornette, and he usually only talks about the WWF side because that's where he was.
Yeah.
And early WCW.
Right.
Like NWA, WCW time frame.
Right.
So he'll go on and on about some, like, matches in, like, 91 about who and whoever else. But
right.
Anything after that, he'll unless Vince Russo was involved, because he's got a firm hatred for that guy.
Right.
But so moving on, like to the cell matches though. So I was looking at a couple of these earlier today. One of the ones that stood out to me because I completely missed it was, I think it was 2009. Was Undertaker versus CM Punk.
Yeah,
I had no idea that happened.
Yes,
it
did happen.
That was very new to me. I watched it earlier today. Nothing amazing, you know. It definitely wouldn't compete for best match because, you know, I mean, even without the blood and the violence or whatever, some of them just aren't as good as others.
Right.
Period. I mean, because you have, like I bring up from time to time, the DX and the Legacy. That one was good just the way it was put out, right?
Right. Even the DX versus the McMahons was that was probably one of the most underrated matches, and I actually like that match.
So yeah, I'll have to go back and see about that one then.
Yeah, it was DX and Vince, Shane, and Big Show in that match.
Okay, that's interesting. But yeah, looking at these though, I mean, you see, like, you know, they started off very strong, like with Undertaker and Kane, and then of course Undertaker and Shawn Michaels.
Yeah.
Then Undertaker and Mankind. I remember this Boss Man one from WrestleMania.
Yeah.
Only because, like, didn't they hang Boss Man at the end?
Undertaker hung Boss Man by the cell.
Yeah, that was
rising up. So
there's some weird things going on that you could do back then that you can't do anymore. I mean, not that you should have done them then, but they definitely wouldn't happen now. I'll say that.
Right. I mean, we barely could get blood now.
Yeah.
Unless it's like a legit accident.
That's a good point. That, and I don't. So this was around that time when I wasn't watching much at all, because I don't remember most, like Triple H and Kevin Nash, this whole thing. Like, I don't remember any of that because I felt out of the loop.
That was one of those. What's the word I want to say? Like, that match didn't need to happen because Nash was already like pushing past his prime.
Yeah, Nash was. I feel like he may have been past his prime for a while.
Yeah, I mean, I think one match he tore his quads, 2 of them at the same time.
No, McMahon. Wait, didn't McMahon do that too?
Yeah, McMahon did do that in the Royal Rumble.
Oh yeah, because like the Cena and Batista ending, and then next thing you know, McMahon sitting on the ring ropes. It's like being upset, like, okay. Oh man. But let's see. But yeah, I know we were talking about like the timeline earlier. Looks like they didn't have too many of these for a while. Like, meaning they weren't overdone.
Yeah.
Like 2006, 2007, 2008, 2009. Yeah. So for a couple of years, they weren't really leaning too heavy on it.
Also remember, at one time they had Hell in a Cell like a brand exclusive, like Raw have it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there would not be no SmackDown matches on it. And I think they switched. I think that switch came around that Undertaker CM Punk match.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting to know. I wonder what that was all about. Did you? I don't know, given that you were in the area, did you happen to go to this one in 2011?
No, the one in 2011. No, I didn't go to that one. That was Triple H. What that was? That was the one Mark Henry and Randy Orton. No, I wasn't at that one.
Alberto Del Rio. That guy. That's something always seemed a little off about him to me. You know.
He's just a downward spiral, bro.
And apparently, that's apparently very true. And let's see, then Undertaker and Triple H. Now this one, that Undertaker Triple H at WrestleMania 28.
Yeah,
that was a good one.
That would have been to me that would have been a perfect send-off match. But
I mean, it would have been, because The thing that sucks and like the reason people would have complained about that, in my opinion, looking at it right now, is that they would have been able to tell that Undertaker still had some more time left in him.
Right.
But the thing is, you don't necessarily want to go until you can't anymore.
Right.
You want to stop a little before that.
Right.
But at least on your own, like you just saying like, you know what? I am content with this match. Like it had everything I wanted in it. I don't really see me having a better feud. Like, because sure, you can build up, or excuse me, you can have a better match later with somebody.
Right.
But it may not have the whole backstory, and so therefore it won't carry as much weight.
I mean, but it's they dubbed it end of an era. So what era are we ending though? Like, if you're gonna give it that title, what you got to be specific about what we ended on this.
Yeah, because like they both. Well, that was 2011, right?
Yeah, 2012.
No, 12.
Yeah.
8 years later, they were both still active. I mean, Triple H didn't wrestle this year, but he isn't retired either. You know? So it did not end anything, actually. Yeah, that's a huge plot hole that I never thought about.
Like, wait, what did we end? Like, Taker was still active. Just what you said. Shawn was still active. I mean, Hunter.
Yeah,
still active.
Because Shawn, he stuck true to his like retirement from like the 2 years before that.
Yeah.
Until last year, sure. But even still, he said he did that one for probably a huge payoff.
Right.
And then went on to teaching or coaching or something with NXT. But yeah, they didn't end anything. They just had if anything, they ended their feud.
Yeah,
Wait, they didn't do that. No, because like that was the whole thing they came back for last year. So yeah, I thought I had something. No.
We're just gonna consider what it was, Super Showdown. That's a non-canon.
Oh, okay, that's what it was. That was just a little house show,
Yeah, a house show that just so happened to be on for us to see.
Yeah, it's like that. Something I saw recently was like some one night only show in like Japan. It was like Brock Lesnar and Daniel Bryan or something.
Yeah. I forgot. Insurrection.
Yeah, it's like because it came up recently on the podcast where they were saying that if you listen to Michael Cole on this one, you can tell that he's actually a good commentator when he is left on his own. But when you're being told how to do things a certain way, your hands are tied there.
Yeah.
The CM Punk and Ryback thing. I guess that's part of why CM Punk isn't there anymore. I don't know.
Yeah.
And wasn't there I'm trying to think. I thought there was something else. Wasn't there like a Triple H and I don't know. There's like a Triple H and Brock Lesnar match, but maybe it was maybe it wasn't a cell. Maybe it was just like no DQ or something.
I think there was. It was
because I just remember him getting like he had like the arm bar on, like Lesnar had the arm bar on him, and he dropped a sledgehammer and tapped out or passed out or something.
Oh yeah, that was
I can't remember when that happened.
It was SummerSlam.
That could be right. My Kicks, what's going on, man?
What's going on?
Just sitting here talking about some wrestling, And then they start having the women's matches, and I don't remember it personally, but I feel like there was something wrong with this Flair and Banks match. I know there was a women's match that was not good, or either it had like a lot of mess ups in it, or it just wasn't good. But I don't know if that was it.
It wasn't the Sasha and Becky one, was it?
I don't know, because what year was this? 2016. I don't know how many there. Because this was not. I'm thinking it was this one. I'm thinking it was the Banks and Flair one. But
okay,
I don't know, maybe it was just like too hyped up, and then they just couldn't live up to all the hype, because sometimes that happens.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this the Randy Orton versus Hardy, where
I
remember it was the ear thing.
Yeah, the screwdriver in the ear.
That was, oh man, that was rough. Like I saw that, but let's see. Hold on, homegrown. What's going on, man?
What's going on, homegrown?
So yeah, in my case, saying he doesn't know anything about it. His papa told him it was fake and ruined it for when he was young. You know, like I get that. You know, I totally get that. But now, like we've talked about before, the thing is, like, you watch it and you look at like the whole world of it, everything that goes into it, from the backstage to like the in-ring performance, and that just gets you. And sometimes you just got to suspend your belief and be like, man, like he's really mad at this dude, you know? Because sometimes when they have their little feuds, there can be some real life stuff in there. He's like,
yeah, I mean, Hogan and Randy Savage for real, and who else had beef in real life?
Edge and Matt Hardy.
Yeah. Oh well, yeah. That was a whole other situation.
I mean, steal a man's girlfriend or wife or whatever it was. And, you know, there's so many things. Like, my parents were up here a couple weekends ago, and we were watching the WrestleMania 24, where they do like the whole day of talking about like building up the show.
Yeah.
So we watched the one for Orlando because that's when we had gone to. And my dad is looking at us like, man, they put a lot of work into this. Like, this thing is huge. And then we watched Kurt Angle versus HBK from WrestleMania something. And he was like, wow, this is pretty intense, you know, because they were talking about, I think one of them had been on Kurt Angle was on that show talking about wrestling and stuff, you know?
Right.
And so then I put that on so we could kind of see what he's talking about. And then after that, we watched the Broken Skull session with Mark Henry to kind of give him like the whole well-rounded picture of this is what goes into it. This is the match as it happens. And this is people's life story about getting to this point.
Right.
And he is like, man, like now I see why you are so into this.
I mean, I was thinking about the Montreal screw job and all that went into that. That was just a shit show of a day.
Dude, like it still is. You know, it still is to this day, because it's like you don't know what to believe out of it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I
mean, sure. Vince said one thing, Sean said another, Brett said this, Taker said that.
Right, because I'm sure that the whole story has been put out there if you know which pieces to take.
Right.
Like if you take, this thing that Undertaker said and this thing that Brett said, mix it with this thing Sean said, you might have the full thing right there. But everybody has like a slightly different twist.
Right.
Like, wait, so you did know. Well, like, no, so when I said I didn't know, what I meant was I didn't know that it was going to be on that day. It's like,
right. No. I thought it was going to be the next night.
It's like, so wait, so what did Earl Hebner do? Where was he in this? It's like, yeah. It's like, I remember I met that man once, shook his hand, and I was like, man, that's possibly the hand that screwed Brett. This guy. You know, is that a TNA show in like 2011? It's like this guy.
Oh man, God love Earl Hebner. I love that whole he was homeless and drunken Earl Hebner in TNA. I love that angle.
Oh man, I missed that then. Man, I need to start watching that. And speaking of which, I was going to bring it up at some point. Last night, Rich Swan, he is now the Impact champion.
Oh man.
And the only one,
he did win.
Yeah, the only figure I have is I just had to dig it out of a box of the Money in the Bank one.
Oh man.
But yeah, man. So that's cool.
I wonder.
Hold on, Jezzy's homegrown saying something. Okay, after 4 different emails from 4 different accounts, finally got a response from Hasbro. They're sending me a replacement head for the Drago Ranger. Okay, I remember that was the wrestling thing is part of the conversation, but the other part, like when we're not doing shoes, is action figures. So Yeah, action figure stuff, man, like dealing with like the companies replacing things that they're supposed to give you when they tell you something compared to what's on the box. You know, like if the back of the box says it's going to be this person in this suit and you get it, it's like, no, like I open the box and it's this. It's like
something completely different.
Yeah. So that's good to hear that he finally got the, you know,
I'm glad you got it because they said they were cutting it off, I think November 1st.
Oh, so that's like Sunday.
Yeah. So
and
I'm glad you got it.
Yeah. And let's see, vlogging said, thoughts on current WWE product. I stopped watching WWE for years because it was always the same people winning championships and getting pushes. I think COVID exposed WWE, love AEW. So first I'll answer my part first, and Jezzy, I'll pass it over to you.
Oh, go ahead.
So let me put that on the screen. So right now, it's not great. It isn't. The NXT portion, they're doing fine, though. Again, a lot of their issue comes from like the whole virus thing, because there's been outbreaks and people get sidelined because they're in the middle of a thing, and then it's like, oh wait, we don't know if this guy's going to be around for 2 weeks, so that screws things up. But overall, they are bringing in new faces. I put it on there the other day, a couple 3 weeks ago or a month ago. I didn't know who Cameron Grimes was. Now I'm firmly in that dude's corner. So they're bringing things in, bringing people in that you may not necessarily know, but you give them a minute and you're going to see why you should like or dislike them. So that's cool for all the right reasons, of course.
Right.
And if SmackDown and Raw could start doing that, I think that would be good. But right now, they're just mostly giving people things that they don't really want. And I will say, one slight caveat to that is that nothing seems that great without a crowd there, period. So everything is already a little bit worse. But I have to wonder, like, how much of this is bad just because it's bad.
Yeah.
Jezzy?
Yeah, I'll agree with you on that part. But I mean, as the current product right now, they're basically winging it for the most part, not staying too concrete with a lot of the storylines. But I mean, we're also seeing another thing going on. We're living in an era where they're not heavily relying on a John Cena or even some remnants of The Rock or like the previous era. They had to live without a Stone Cold and a Rock. So I mean, we're kind of getting put into that same phase. Like we have to depend on our Roman Reigns. We have to depend on our the better women's division than we had in the past, because you know Sasha Banks and Bayley are pretty much carrying that load, and also Asuka as well. Considering Charlotte's not there.
Right.
But the only thing that's shining light out of it, and that ties back into what we were talking about with the mask and face paint thing, is like Finn Balor and Bray Wyatt both have mask and face paint gimmicks, but yet they have two separate gimmicks on top of those two gimmicks right there. So I mean, I'm liking that position that they have with those two. But for the most part, he said something about, he said he loved AEW. AEW has his little kinks has to work out as well.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. Like, I'm wearing an AEW shirt right now, but and in a way, Jezzy's wearing one.
I'm wearing Bullet Club.
Given where a lot of those people ended up, but looking at AEW, it's like their problem is bigger because they have so many people, like say like Pac or Neville as he used to be, right?
Right.
Or certain other wrestlers that are stuck in England or they're stuck in Australia. Half the Dark Order, or not half, but some of the Dark Order was stuck in Canada. Mm-hmm. So certain people can't even be at shows right now. Right. So they're just kind of using the same people over and over, which doesn't really give you a lot of variety on the shows and stuff. So that kind of sucks.
Right.
And hopefully sooner or later they get back into the swing of things, because right now I think if they had more people on there, maybe they could kind of get a little variety, and maybe some of the shows wouldn't be so well. The last pay-per-view just wasn't good. Last year's All Out, solid. I have the poster in my room and all that good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
This past one, like earlier this month, it was not great.
Right.
But little pro tip for you: if you are a person to order pay-per-views, use a VPN. Order the AEW pay-per-views through Fight TV because they only cost $20 that way. If you buy them from Bleacher Report, they cost $50. So save yourself some money, buy yourself some pizza or something to eat with it. So that's just from me to you. You're welcome. But AEW, they've got a good thing going.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like they just need to capitalize on it, and I'm hoping they can do that.
Mm-hmm. Well, like you said, I feel the same way. Like the crowd makes a difference in a company too. Like there's no live crowds.
Oh yeah, definitely makes a big difference. Let's see. Blog said the Roman Reigns story is the best thing right now. Even though I don't like Roman Reigns, I will say that I like that they're bringing up one of the Usos. Jay?
I mean, not the one you expected, but
they're bringing up one of them, whichever one it is. I'll be honest, I don't know. I have no idea which one is which, right? But if you saw my last wrestling unboxing, I wasn't sure if I was looking at Sin Cara or Kalisto. So, I'm easily fooled, except for by that twin magic. I can tell Brie and Nikki from each other.
Right.
But looking at that though, I think things are moving in a good way. Mm-hmm. If they decide to continue to do these storylines where they get people who weren't normally on the upper end of things on that upper end of things.
Well, question about that. Do you feel like that WWE is doing this based on since it's publicly traded now, do you believe that it has more to do with their shareholders and opposed to like we actually are trying to build a storyline compared to years past?
Remember that time when Kofi Kingston spent 11 years trying to get a world title shot and he got it, and then he was beaten in 3 seconds right before the big debut on Fox by the biggest name they had, Brock Lesnar?
Yes.
My answer is in that. So yes. Yes. I firmly believe that a huge piece of their decision making is based on pleasing people that are not the people buying tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, nobody's buying tickets right now.
Right.
But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I completely get you on that one.
Yeah, if that wasn't the case, that's when things were, let's see, and back in I know people have their ups and downs about the Attitude Era, but that's when I remember it not being a public thing and people were kind of left to get over with the crowd on their own, right? So if you happen to be more entertaining than the person you're in the ring with for whatever reason, you're going to start selling more shirts and start getting the more increases in your TV time and all that good stuff, right?
Right.
So then it seemed like they would just kind of play to that, if you did something and it caught on, like, cool, it didn't matter who you were. Like, if all of a sudden Funaki said something funny and so you know what, we need Funaki on TV every week.
Right.
There you go, until they aren't laughing anymore. Mm-hmm. Let's see, how did the draft go? So wait, let me read the whole thing. I missed SmackDown but caught Raw and was confused. So the one thing to take away from that is that the New Day was split up and I am not okay with it. Also, when they split, because they had the tag titles and the Street Profits had the tag titles, when they switched, they just gave each other the tag belts. So it made sense, but it was a little weird at the same time. Correct. And who else? Usually the brand split or brand draft invites new opportunities, but basically we got the whole storyline of Seth Rollins, Buddy Murphy, and Rey Mysterio and Dominic just moved over to Friday. So that sucks because I have been done with that for months.
Right.
And what started on Raw, well, I'm not sure. I watched most of Raw this past week, I think, but I don't remember what they were talking about. But overall, the draft, I don't get it. I just don't see why it happens.
I will say this: they single-handedly buried what it was. How long was the Retribution thing going on? Over the summer, right?
Oh, that, yes.
Yeah, that whole Bray Wyatt buried the whole group thing. That was tragic.
Like, it was bad because, like, first I think it was first the Hurt Business buried them in the same show.
Yeah.
And then the Fiend buried them by himself. So but yeah, let's go round. Hold on, because I still got the thing on here. Just bringing that up though, talking about the Fiend reminded me of probably one of the worst cell matches was what year was that?
That was 2 years ago.
Seth Rollins versus the Fiend. And that match, like, how are you going to end on a disqualification? Or not, but a match
stoppage.
But either way, you know, like, it's an anything goes match, and you're gonna stop it because like dude got hit in the head with like a mallet or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, come on, man. It just didn't make any sense to me. But now we got tonight's show coming around. Where was that? I forget who's gonna be in there. But so I'm gonna give you. So we got 3 matches. Well, let's see who all's gonna be on this all together. So I'll give you some quick predictions since this is happening tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. And because we all know that the only way to know who is going to win a wrestling match is those 2 competitors getting in the ring and going at it one-on-one. It's impossible to predict. So, best guesses here. I'll start from 5, work to the top. Otis and The Miz. I'm going with Otis because dude's got to be super upset over The Miz trying to like swindle him out of his Money in the Bank contract. And he's going to take that anger, channel it, and release it all onto The Miz and walk out as the Money in the Bank champion again. What do you say, Jezzy?
Yeah, I second that. I believe Otis is going to retain that Money in the Bank contract. I don't see them giving it to The Miz right now, especially the way things are going, especially with the brand split. I mean, the new draft that they just did. Like, this match shouldn't even be happening right now. But
no, definitely not. And then let's see, for Elias and Jeff Hardy. Jeff Hardy is an older gentleman. He's been through a lot. Elias is coming off of a nice little break. He's kind of healed up from, I think, an injury, and he released an album. He is on a roll right now, and is probably feeling pretty decent about it. So, given that he's the fresher man going in, I think he's got the edge and will take home the W. What do you say?
Yes, I will give it to Elias. Even though, backstage talkings of Jeff Hardy supposedly had a push that was supposed to be coming up, I think it would do a disservice to Elias considering how he came back. This is actually interesting that they even will pit these 2 against each other right here. But for the sake of keeping Elias momentum going, I will say give it to Elias. He's coming out with the W.
And also, if you go to Pro Wrestling Score Sheets, you'd have to type it in because I think it's just PWS or PW Score Sheets, something like that.
Yeah.
You can do these little, like, it's kind of like fantasy football from what Derek was saying, where they'll ask you specific questions about each match, and you just kind of fill out what you think, like how long might the match go, how many chair shots will there be, like how many near falls. Each one is different for each match. Right. And you just get a little point system based off of how many you get right. Mm-hmm. It kind of gives me a reason to watch the pay-per-views sometimes. So I suggest that if you got some time, I'll put a link in there in a little bit if I remember. Bayley versus Sasha. So, well, I think Sasha might just pull this one off because she's probably tired of like losing repeatedly, time after time after time, and she's finally got, Bayley where she wants her, And I think that she's just going to be deep enough in Bayley's head after like what happened on Friday that she pulls off the victory. Even the statistics say otherwise.
I put what you said, for the sake of Sasha losing, she may pull this one out, but I have a plot twist. I feel like Bayley's gonna get it back in the next title defense.
Yo, I could see that, yeah, because Sasha, she wins, but she just doesn't know how to like maintain.
Yeah, she doesn't defend well.
She might need to go back to NXT and get in touch with her roots again or something.
Yeah, but I mean, I think they're gonna try and honestly, I think they want to try and stretch this to at least WrestleMania. So I could see them going all out, and I believe Charlotte's supposed to be coming back in December.
I thought I don't know.
She might be back by the Royal Rumble. Who knows at this point?
Because you never know. Like, people say things, but they don't always mean what they're saying. You know.
Right.
But so looking over here, getting back because I was just trying to get that link real quick. So who do we have next? Drew McIntyre, Randy Orton. So let's see about this one. It's a tough one because Randy Orton, he usually doesn't lose too much. Like he'll take some losses, he'll figure out what he's doing wrong, and he'll capitalize. So I'm thinking that this might be the time where he pulls that off.
Mm-hmm.
Drew McIntyre, he's at that point where he's feeling like he's got this, and sometimes that confidence can be your downfall. What do you say?
I see Drew getting the W out of this, but just based off of the current product that they got right now, they're gonna stretch this Randy thing probably one more time. But I do believe that we'll get into something with Drew and Keith Lee in probably the next month or two. I'm just interested to see how they're gonna do this around Survivor Series.
Yeah, because speaking at it from that angle, it does make you a little curious to think if they do the Survivor Series like they normally do, where it's like the whole crossing over thing or whatever, champ versus champ.
Right.
Who would they want to fight the other champs? Mm-hmm. So that's one way to look at it, as far as if you want to, take the other route.
Right.
And then let's see. So rounding things off, main event. So Roman Reigns, Jey Uso, not Jeff Uso or Jimmy Uso, whatever. Jey Uso. So it could become a numbers game. And if it is, well, yeah, because it is I get that, they're all confined, but how many times have people infiltrated a cage before, right? People figure things out. It's 2020, we're smart.
I mean, what finishing move do you need to break through a cage? A choke slam, a spear?
No, wire cutters.
Wire cutters. I will say this. I'm surprised AJ Styles is not on this card.
Oh, wait. He's on Raw now, right? Wait, no, that doesn't matter? No, it doesn't matter because they're not splitting the pay-per-views anymore.
Right.
That is strange. What has he been doing? Oh, he's doing a thing with Matt Riddle right now.
Yeah.
But so I don't know, maybe there'll be a pre-show. But I'm gonna say that with Jay and Jimmy being on the same page, they could make this a 2-1 thing, right? Because Paul Heyman isn't going to be able to do too much.
Right.
So if they're willing to play off of that, they could pull this off one way or another.
Yeah.
And take down the tribal chief, as it were.
Right.
But time will tell. Time will tell.
Yeah, I'm not understanding the whole exile thing, but yeah.
Yeah, let me see if I can get into this thing real quick, see what these questions are looking like for tonight. But yeah, overall, I mean, it's not going to be an amazing thing, I don't think.
Right.
But man, they make you click through a lot of stuff to get into this site. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be an amazing card, but I'm curious. So just an example, like the Elias versus Hardy, they have like winner, fall type. How many near falls will the guitar be used? Is the match over 10 minutes, right? Nice. The Money in the Bank match, same sort of thing. Time before Otis does the Caterpillar, because he always does the Caterpillar. Or there'll be a fight between Tucker and Morrison. Will the winner cash in? Because, that can happen. SmackDown women's, so how many aerial moves, how many Kindle stick shots. So you see how this can get kind of interesting when you're answering questions, match time, near falls, unique weapon types, blood. I mean, it is, if this was 97,
you'd be in the money with that blood.
Oh yeah. Entrance promo, which is, generally like the Paul Heyman thing. First to be asked if they quit. Like, is this an I Quit match?
Yeah, it's an I Quit Hell in a Cell match.
Oh, that's different.
Yeah.
All right. How many Superman punches will there be? Will Jimmy go into the cell? And then then they have like the match position. This one I do terrible on every time. Like, what's going to be the opening match, the 5th, 3rd, and final? It's like, I don't know, man. But it's fun though, The last couple times I've done, I can't say I've done well because I don't have anything to compare it to.
Right.
They tell you your standings as far as like if 300 people put in guesses or whatever, they'll say, okay, well, you were number like 176. It's like, all right, cool. So the last 2 times I've been in the upper 50%. One time I got exceptionally lucky with a match and got like all things correct. And I was like top 20, something like, okay, that was a fluke, but I'll take it.
It's all part of the game.
Right. Now, you say you don't really watch like the NXT, right?
No, NXT I keep up with it, but I haven't been watching much of it. Like I've been saying, like Ember Moon came back. Finn Balor's been out with the jaw thing.
Man, did you see that match, or at least like the shot that broke his jaw?
Yeah, I seen the after effect of it too. How his jaw was swelled out.
That thing was, because sometimes people get those injuries and you're not quite sure where it happened. You have an idea, but they made sure you knew. They were like, nope, this right here. You see that knee to his jaw? But luckily, it looks like it's not going to be like terrible. So hopefully he doesn't have to drop the title.
Yeah,
that's what I'm hoping for.
I think he'll probably be all right. I mean, they give him 30 days to heal up.
Yeah,
like that,
and maybe even longer right now. But but everybody's been injured lately. I mean,
everybody's been overworked.
That too. Most of them shouldn't really be working that much right now anyway, personal opinion.
Right.
But whatever. But looking at the match lineup for tonight, you got any predictions you want to call on any of those?
I really wanted this what is Priest versus Gargano?
That one, I'm thinking that's going to be a pretty good one.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same way about that, but I do think Priest is going to pull that win out over Gargano.
Yeah, like Gargano hasn't really had that momentum going where he's been winning. You know what I mean?
Right.
And he's kind of just biting off a little more than he can chew, in my opinion.
You think so?
So I don't see this being the time. Like, Priest is like, obviously he's only had the title for so long, but he seems to have a bit clearer of a head going into this for one, and that kind of helps.
Right.
And Gargano's all worked up over something. I don't know what he's mad about, but he's very mad about something. So he's just out there just trying to attack anybody who has a title. And I think that it's going to not work out for him.
Right.
This Raquel Gonzalez Rhea Ripley match.
Okay, I would say.
I mean, it looks. I don't know which way to call that.
Yeah, that's a hard one because Ripley already kind of has this little downward spiral with her going on as well.
Yeah.
I wanna say they're gonna at least try to get her out of that funk because I mean she lost that title to Charlotte and it's been downhill since then.
And Raquel Gonzalez has Dakota Kai on her side.
Mm-hmm.
So that could play a part in it.
Yeah.
But even so, Raquel's been holding her own lately.
Mm-hmm.
So I think.
Didn't her and Ember Moon had a match recently?
Oh, she had a match with somebody. Ember Moon did. I can't think of who it was though. What about? I don't know what a haunted House of Terror match is, so I don't know how to call that one.
Yeah,
but it sounds like it plays more to Dexter Lumis.
I think Grimes gonna pull that one out.
I mean, that's what I would like to see happen. You know?
Yeah, but I mean, stranger things have happened. I'm just confused on the match type though.
Yeah.
Like, is it gonna be a cinematic match or is it gonna be like a match?
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I didn't watch last week's NXT yet, so I need to do that before Tuesday night.
Okay.
And then main event. Wait, is this it?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. Because I was thinking, shouldn't there be? Wait, there's not even a tag match on here. That's what's missing. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
there's normally like a tag match.
Yeah, a tag match involved with it.
But either way, so Io Shirai and Candice LeRae, same exact situation as the Damian Priest Johnny Gargano. Yeah. I feel the exact same way on this one.
Yeah, I think I feel Io Shirai, she's gonna pull it out. She's gonna
pull it out. She is on a roll right now. Mm-hmm. She's got some momentum on her side.
Right.
And I will say that I would imagine that the next competitor thrown her way, it's likely to be Ember Moon because she's coming in pretty fresh herself.
Right.
And then the playing field gets a little more even.
Mm-hmm.
But for right now, I don't think it is.
Well, I mean, yeah, Io Shirai got some momentum going, but I expect her to pull this out, and come January, I expect her to get called up to the main roster.
And then she will be on a downward spiral.
Yes. And she'll probably go back to NXT.
Yep. All right. So thinking about that though, like the whole kind of like the draft split, like the call-ups thing, it's like I think they mean well when they do that, but it does not end well. Like I'd say somewhere between 99 and 100% of the time, most people do not do okay.
Right.
And if they do, it's way later.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you see like the Fiend, Bray Wyatt, whatever you want to call him.
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember when he left NXT or when he got his call up or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a while though. And he didn't get a, hey, what's going on there?
Hey.
Hi.
And it's been however long, and it took him years to get anywhere.
Right.
I
mean, Matt Riddle, for example, he came up and look what he's doing now. Like, you thought he had like at least intercontinental aspirations.
Yeah.
And like he's just been, they just putting him in a feud with AJ Styles, like basically.
Right. I mean, and that says something, like being in a feud with AJ Styles, but AJ Styles isn't really doing anything. So It's like, I mean, I don't know. It's a weird situation, but
yeah,
because I get that not everybody can be in the titles picture or whatever, or even hold it, but he could at least be in that. Okay, let him get some wins up so that he can become like a worthy contender, you know?
Right.
So then when he goes and he calls out Sami Zayn, wait, no, they're not on the same show. Who whoever it is, whoever has I guess the U.S. title, is that still?
Who is that? Damn, that's
Is it Bobby Lashley?
Yeah, Bobby Lashley.
Okay, so you build something up, and then you let people remember that. Oh wait, Bobby Lashley is an MMA guy. Matt Riddle's an MMA guy. Like this could be a pretty decent match in some kind of ways.
Right.
And, you play off of that, and you let things go where they go.
Right.
But instead, nothing's really happening right now.
Well, I mean,
hey, What the Sneakers just came by. What's going on, man? Appreciate that donation. I always do.
What's going on with the sneaks?
And feel free to jump in and talk about some wrestling with us, man. But looking at it, it's like there's a lot of people. You got like Kevin Owens. He came out from NXT, beat John Cena on his first night on Raw, and then he's fluctuated, to be completely honest, but he's at least stayed relevant. You know what I mean?
Right.
And Finn Balor, he was moving up quickly, and then just fell off after his shoulder injury.
Yeah, after that injury was the main thing. I 100% blame the injury.
Let me find that link, because I just had it. But I'd like to see, because you want to see people like jump in and have the same success that they had before, because they're the same person, you know?
Right.
Nothing changed except for
the brand,
like the music.
Right.
Now, did you see the debut of Keith Lee when they changed? Like they had a tennis shirt on.
Yeah.
I was like, what? And they gave him that bad music.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest complaint for everybody was the music.
And I was just like, man, this is ridiculous. Like, what? Because
at least he won. At least he won.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. He was winning. I can't take that away. But it's just you watch it and you see somebody. It's like imagine they took like WrestleMania 12 Shawn Michaels or something,
and
then they move him to like a different show, and then all of a sudden you just get like 2017 Dolph Ziggler.
Yeah.
It's like you see, like, okay, like he's got some talent, but he's just here to lose. Like, is that it? When he's on TV?
Basically. But I mean, that reminds me. Remember when who it was? Was it? I think it was Booker T at the time. Remember when Booker T came over from WCW to WWE to TNA, and they like did this remix version of his old song. Like that's what comes to my mind when they do stuff like that.
What the snake is going on, man?
Nothing much, man. Man, I hear y'all in here talking some wrestling talk.
Yeah,
I don't watch wrestling like I used to, man, but I'm familiar with certain things, man.
Yeah, that's fine. So, okay, I'll hit you with one of the things we were talking about earlier. We were talking about like favorite wrestlers that had masks or face paint. I'm sure you have a couple because if you said you watched a while ago, that was a popular thing.
Massive face paint.
So
of course, Rey Mysterio.
Right.
Who else?
So we were talking about.
I think what his name was in WCW. Goofy Two Guerrero. He started off with a face mask and then he took it off. I think he lost that match and he had to take it off.
Yeah, he had to take it off.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know why I didn't think it.
Another one. Of course, Sting. You got to put Sting up there. I mean,
yeah.
With the face paint, I mean, that was just iconic right there.
Do you remember why he changed from like the colored face paint to the black and white? Sting?
I remember he did a promo in WCW, and that was at the same time he was having like the color face mask, and I forgot how the promo went. And then after that, he left or whatever, and then he came back with the Black Crow type of vibes and stuff.
Okay, I might have to just find that promo because we were talking about that earlier when we were talking about like Halloween Havoc and stuff, and neither of us could remember. We just knew that he had it. Some time passed and he came back without it.
Right. Yeah, I remember he did a promo. I don't know if it was an actual promo or it was a shoot because the vibes didn't like it wasn't like a typical Sting like promo. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's somewhere on YouTube though. I know.
You know the funny thing about that is I forgot all about Goldust.
Goldust, man, and he's still going.
Goldust might be my favorite face paint wrestler. Cause like I mean, okay, Demon Finn Balor, he's high up there because he looks really cool.
Right.
But Goldust though, I mean, he just like the stuff he had going on with Booker T, with R-Truth, just on his own.
Even the stuff before that.
Yeah, he's just an entertaining dude, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think for him, bro, it's crazy, man. Even to see him still go to this day, like you know what I'm saying, like he's like in the best shape of his life.
Mm-hmm.
That was the thing that I was surprised by because like I've seen some people that stick around and they just kind of don't do so hot later. And he had some moments where he was kind of like losing a step or two, but he took some time off, came back, slimmed down, and all that. And he was putting on these crazy matches with Cody, not like as a tag team. And I don't remember when it was, but they were like tag champs and stuff. And this might have been like 2013, 14. Yeah.
The Stardust.
Yeah.
They
had the tag belts that looked like pennies. They like that carpet.
Yeah. The carpet belts.
It was just me though. I didn't ever like the Stardust gimmick that much.
Yeah, Cody didn't either.
Yeah,
I know. I just felt like with Cody, bro, like you know, Cody should have been like a world champion, like in WWE. In my opinion, man, he had everything, bro. I just don't know why they kind of dropped the ball on it.
That's what I don't get.
I think it more had to do once his dad passed away. I think that had more to do with it. Like as far as his decision, like that would prompt him to leave the company for the most part. But I think that had a lot to do with it for the most part. Some with the dad, because you know wait, did he win that lawsuit against them about using his dad's name and all that other stuff?
I think the last thing I heard was that they don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
But he's trying to get it, and he submitted paperwork to claim the name or something.
Right.
But there was something with the paperwork where it wasn't clear, or like it didn't outline what they wanted to do with the name. Mm-hmm. So he's got some legal people trying to figure out, okay, well, what do they want me to put on these forms to what am I supposed to tell them?
Right.
You know, because you would think it'd be something like that. You would think would be fairly simple, where it's like, look, I'm a wrestler. My dad was a wrestler. I want to have his name, so for these reasons.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because what else?
I didn't even know it went that far though. Like with them, I mean, I know they had issues and stuff, you know, but I didn't even know it went that far where he did that lawsuit and stuff.
Yeah, it's been going on for about 3 years now.
Yeah, it's because I think there was one thing where it started, and then he had to wait for like a certain time period to where there's like a lapse or something in like their ownership of the name to where he could try to get it from them.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever it is, it's like I feel like it shouldn't have even come to that, you know?
Right.
It's like I get there's a business side of mostly everything nowadays, but there's still a human side of it.
It's still the same company that sent CM Punk's his firing papers on his wedding day. So
okay, yeah. They do some underhanded things. I mean, I can't even argue that, you know. But past that, it's like just looking at wrestling as a whole, though. It's a weird place for a lot of reasons. You know, there's some things like that happen. Then when you look at like people that are just trying to get out of contract so they can go wrestle somewhere else.
Right.
They at least were like when Goldust wanted to leave for obvious reasons, they let him out of his contract. You know, they're like, all right, cool. We'll let you go.
Well, I think at that point, Goldust has equity to do stuff like that. Like certain wrestlers, they'll be like, look, you don't even need to 90 days, don't worry about it. Once you jump ship, you go do what you want. We're good. I think he built up enough equity to in the company to do that.
Right.
But I mean, who else? Billy Gunn, he's still going. Billy Gunn and who else?
And actually, Billy Gunn can't use
the Famouser.
I think he can't say his name, or it can't be called Billy Gunn.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's why they go with like the Gunn Club for like him and his son.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and there's.
Hey, I just know him by Mr. Ass, bro. I mean, I don't know if that's a good thing, but that's how I found, man. That's how I knew about him. Like, you know, back then, when SmackDown was just coming on, like, and DX and all that stuff, and then, you know.
I remember that, yeah, because
Mr. Ass, badass Billy Gunn.
Because he was kind of a solo wrestler at that point, right?
He was solo.
No, I think he's still with DX.
Oh, I know, because like there will be times where like people like they're in a tag team, but they start having more and more single matches.
Yeah, he did. Because he changed the name from Mr. Ass to the one Billy Gunn at that time. On that solo run.
Yeah, he did.
That was probably like the worst thing though, bro. Because I mean, just thinking about how his career got so killed, bro. I remember when The Rock did that promo.
Yeah, and shut his whole.
The Rock killed that man on that promo. I was like, damn, bro. I don't know.
What was it? Billy and Chuck thing he had going on.
Yeah,
supposed to be in a relationship with the dude.
But then
that was
Nah. Now that you think about it, Billy Gunn has been through, and because he started off with like, was it Skip or something like that?
Yeah, with his brother Bart.
Yeah, because I was watching a really old pay-per-view the other day and saw that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so he was there for a long time, because I don't remember him ever leaving. I mean, because whenever that started, I think he, like, same thing with like what's his name, Road Dogg, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They were there separately with different names,
right?
And then they were put together for whatever reason, and then that just kind of it just worked, you know. And so then they, at some point, like started going by different names, maybe, or maybe they changed their names before they made them a tag team. I don't remember how that whole thing worked out.
Mm-hmm.
I just know that they were thrown together because neither of them was doing anything.
Yeah.
But it worked out though. I mean, they were. You can have some arguments or whatever about like some of the best tag teams in WWF of the late '90s, but their name is definitely going to be in the conversation.
Oh, most definitely.
You know what I mean? Like, because there's a lot of them up there. Like, you can say the Dudley Boys for this reason. You know, you can say the Hardy Boys for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
You could say New Age Outlaws for this reason.
Mm-hmm.
Kane and Undertaker, right?
Agent Christian, like, yeah. I mean, there are a lot of them. Like, I would put the New Age Outlaws in. Like, they're not my top 10. I'm gonna say that they're not mine.
Right, but if you switch the question up, that's where it comes in. It's like, okay, well, if you want to look at drawing power, like who was getting the reaction from the crowd, who did people want to selling the merchandise, then they move up a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because every time, but then you have others that, I mean, I don't know if it was just because they were just on TV more or what, but they just seemed like they were really up there, even though people don't really talk about their matches. They just talk about them.
Right.
But that's where you have like Edge and Christian and those guys. People talk about like, oh, remember when Edge and Christian did this? And like they had the kazoos, and then remember that match they had with so and so?
The 7-second pose.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was some good times for wrestling, man. Like
it was.
I was like so into the TV. I used to have like VHS tapes, man, and I'd take them VHS tapes and record every Raw and SmackDown that came on. Like, you know.
Oh yeah, I was there like right on time to watch that. It's like right after I think like Walker Texas Ranger or La Femme Nikita or something. But
I was just in a bad spot. I had to watch WWE, then keep flipping back and forth for WCW. And then I couldn't watch it on the other TV because my papa at the time was watching football. So
man, like, so I remember it was like a Sunday because like it was a pay-per-view day, right? And I'm sitting in my room, and at the time, like if you didn't have like the pay-per-view, like if you put it on that channel, it's just scrambled, but you could still hear it.
Yeah.
And I had the TV on that channel, and my dad walks in my room to ask me something. He's like, "Your TV broke?" I'm like, "No, it's a pay-per-view, and we don't have that channel, so I just like to listen to it." Like, okay. I wanted to know who was winning. You know what I mean?
It made sense in our mind.
Yeah, like because that probably would have been like 97. Like, the internet, getting like the word was only getting around so quick. I didn't know where all to go for any information or whatever.
Nah, you hit the nail on the head because I used to tell my dad, I said, damn, when we finally got satellite, that ruined my being able to listen to a pay-per-view for free because we had to buy it direct.
Oh yeah, because then it just says you do not have this channel.
Yeah.
But when I was growing up here, because that's when I started watching, right? And I told my friend, like the guy that lived like in front of me, like his apartment was in front of ours or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And I said something to him about wrestling, and he started inviting me over because they had the black box, so they got everything.
Right.
So every pay-per-view that would come on, he's like, "Yeah, man, just come over on this day, whatever time." So it was cool because from Revenge up to when I moved, like I was able to watch everything, man. Didn't miss a beat. Now it's like, I mean, obviously got the network now, so that covered like $10 will cover it, but
right.
It's like at the same time, like the value isn't even close because like I would have paid, I wouldn't have minded paying at the time whatever they were asking for those pay-per-views because I got so much more out of them.
Right.
Like what the Sneakers was saying, like back then it was just such a good time frame that like when you would watch that stuff, you could see like, okay, you know what? This is definitely worth $30, $40, whatever they cost back then.
Mm-hmm.
Now I watch it and it's like, I could have waited for a highlight.
Right.
Yeah,
that's
exactly right, man. Because I can't imagine like for wrestling now. I can't imagine spending like $60 or whatever it is, like watching a pay-per-view now. You know what I'm saying? Because it don't have that same type of energy that it used to have, like when you watch wrestling before. Like I remember asking my mom when I was younger, man, and that was the only pay-per-view I ever ordered. Like, and it was the Backlash 2000, and man, it was good, man. That was my first time watching the pay-per-view, man. And my other family, they'll order the pay-per-view like every month. Like they'll always order. So I go over there sometimes, go over there, watch like all the pay-per-views and stuff with them. Cause they was like real big wrestling fans. So
yeah, that's cool. Like, trying to think, like the first pay-per-view. Well, okay, I guess the first pay-per-view I saw was that one in April of like '97.
Mm-hmm.
But the first one that really stood out to me because over the summer that year, at some point, I was in Iowa for like a month or 2 months, and I was just renting like tapes from this small video store that was like right up the street. It's probably like $1 for like 3 days or whatever it was, something ridiculously cheap. And one of the first pay-per-views that really stood out to me was WrestleMania 10 with Owen versus Brett and the Shawn Michaels Razor Ramon ladder match. So that one, I was like, man, this is awesome. Like, like you're watching, you're just like, this is definitely something that I can get into.
Right.
And then years later, like being able to see the events live and stuff, it's a little different because you don't hear the commentary.
Yeah, because you can't hear the commentary.
But even when it's just even if it's not like a Raw or even a pay-per-view, if it's just like a normal they're going to be in New Orleans on Wednesday night for whatever reason. You know, you go, you see, and you have a good time. Like, when's the last show you went to? About the sneakers?
The last WrestleMania that came down. What year that was?
It's 34.
34.
Yeah.
Oh, you were there? So all three of us were there.
Yeah,
I went there. I was at the first WrestleMania that was in New Orleans too. You know, Undertaker got beat, which was one of the craziest moments. That whole crowd, everything. That I don't think it was a better WrestleMania than the one with Daniel Bryan won the titles and stuff. Man, I'm talking about that stuff was so epic and
Yeah, that would have been cool to be a part of for sure.
Man, I'll tell you, it was crazy because because I went to the bathroom. I was going to the bathroom. I didn't know what they was gonna do on the first segment, and then that was when The Rock. I heard I think Hulk Hogan came out first. I saw one of them, and then somebody else came out, and I'm like, hold on, what? And I'm like, oh, I got to hurry and get back, man. And then by that time, I think The Rock came out last or something. I forgot how the order was, but man, I was like, oh, that's a crazy moment right there, looking at all three of them in the ring like that. So
everybody was booing Hulk Hogan because he said the wrong city in the wrong.
I remember that. He said like the one in Canada or something.
He said the Silver Dome. I was like, wait.
See, R-Truth can do stuff like that and turn it around and get a laugh out of it. But like Hulk Hogan, he doesn't have that character for it.
Yeah.
But man, that
was the dementia kicking in.
But yeah, I remember, Jezzy brought that up a time before. Like WrestleMania 30, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that would have been a cool one to go to. My first one was 26, where it was Undertaker, Shawn Michaels, round 2, career versus streak. And I don't remember a whole lot about that night, but it's just because there's a lot to take in, Even when I go back and look at like the card, and it's like I look at him and man, this was a good lineup,
The thing I like about it now is like that whole weekend, from Thursday, Friday, Saturdays, all the way up to Sunday. Like the WrestleMania was just the caveat of everything, but like just the events leading up to it, like the actual being out there in the street, or at least going to the access and everything. That probably was my highlight for that WrestleMania weekend.
I was supposed to go, but I didn't have time that day to do it, so I had to miss out on that, man. But it was still cool because, like, even before the event, they had, I think Ric Flair was over there doing the interview, and they showing everybody on the stage and all that stuff. So, I mean, that was cool, man. Just seeing that.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like from what I noticed on, not my first one, but like the one that I went to in San Jose, so 31 was like there's even if you don't have tickets to WrestleMania, but like you're in the city or something, and like maybe they sold out and you don't want to pay so much to like sit far back or whatever, you can still see so many other wrestling things in the city. Like that year I was able to meet like Rob Van Dam and Sabu. I went to this little convention where they had everybody from like the Headbangers to Tommy Dreamer to Eric Bischoff, just kind of mankind just out there.
Like you seeing wrestlers that don't even work for the company. You're like, wait, aren't you supposed to be in Japan?
It's like, so you see that, okay. And now I started to understand like WrestleMania brings in a lot of fans, but it's really only the one day, right? But if you're going to fly across the world, you want to be in town for at least like a few days, depending on how far,
Right.
For me, going from like one state to another, like 3-4 days, no problem. If you're flying from like Australia and stuff like some of these people are, you're probably going to make a week of it, at least. You're probably going to want like the Raw tickets. You're going to want like Hall of Fame. Yeah, the SmackDown. You're going to want like the Ring of Honor shows. And AEW said they'll never do a WrestleMania weekend show, but who else? New Japan has done shows, right?
Right.
Impact maybe, depending on where you are.
Mm-hmm.
So, and all the independent things, you know, like Evolve. Well, they used to be a thing, but all those other companies that would have all these shows going on and stuff back then, it just gives you so much that you can do.
Right.
So that was probably like my favorite, like you were saying, like my favorite overall thing. Once I realized that there was so much else going on, but then it gets like where you want to do everything, you know. So
But
you
I mean, WrestleMania has WWE always been smart with where they're going to place WrestleMania at. So I think they always take account of that as well, like the cities that they're going to put it in.
right, because like going down there to New Orleans, it's like part of me is thinking, okay, I want to do all these other things, like see all these other shows, go to these signings or like Hall of Fame or whatever. But then you want to see the city itself too,
right?
Because it's like I don't just go to New Orleans or Dallas like all the time. So if I'm going to be here, and it's like, where was WrestleMania? WrestleMania this year was supposed to be Tampa.
Yeah, it was supposed to be LA.
No, I'm saying like this past one.
Oh yeah, that was Tampa.
But yeah, this coming year, I did hear LA, and that's going to be, man, that's going to be a mess.
At least, I mean, I know Baton Rouge would never get no WrestleMania. We not a big city like that. Hey, the only thing we ever get down here is SmackDown. So
y'all got Raw. Yeah, they did get Raw like a few years back.
You know what?
We did, because I didn't even know. I thought we only got SmackDown.
Yeah, because one year we got the SmackDown and Baton Rouge got the Raw, and another year Lafayette got Raw.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that was one thing that seemed strange to me later was like, I went to, I'll go to like a Raw or something, or I've seen Raws on TV that are in the same place as places where I went to pay-per-views, and it's like the Elimination Chamber 2017.
Mm-hmm.
I think I might have also gone to like a Raw there or something, or saw one on TV. It's like, but it makes you think like, I would always have assumed just that like if it's a pay-per-view, it's going to be in a bigger place than a Raw, you know?
Right.
It just makes sense to me that way. But I guess the only time they go all out is if it's WrestleMania or like maybe Survivor Series or something.
Yeah, like typically with us, the Raw will be in the arena, and like the pay-per-view, depending on what the pay-per-view is, they'll switch it to the Superdome. Like that'll be the bigger arena, but they'll still be in the same city. They just right across the street from each other.
Yeah, I was always fascinated how SmackDown was too, because like I did not know that, you know, they do the recordings of like main event. They'll do like the main event, and I think we had the cruiserweight one too. Yeah, 205. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We had that as well. So it was like, I was like, damn, they just packed on a whole bunch of stuff, like, you know.
That just gives you some extra value, because I feel like most people don't know that unless you regularly are going to these events. Because like the first time I went to one, because it was so long ago, I think I saw it was like Sunday Night Heat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sunday Night Heat be right either before or after the SmackDown.
So it was something. And even the one I went to in February, you know, like, you know, you kind of forget because you're just like, okay, let me just get here, get to this place. And then they did main event. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I don't even know where main event comes on. Like, I know I can watch it all on the network, but I don't know what channel. If I want,
I don't even think it comes on the channel anymore.
Because I think some of those things are like regional. You know, like if you live in the right part of the right city and you have the right television provider, like you get that channel.
I think what I forgot what the one in Canada is called, but that's probably the only place I know that shows it on.
Like TSN or something?
Is it I forgot. I used to see they tag a lot on other shows, but I forgot what the Canadian channel is.
And I remember somewhere that I lived once got this wrestling show. This was just normal WWE show that I had never seen before. I had never even heard of it.
Was it Jack or Metal?
No, because it wasn't even one of those. It was like, because this happened within the last, what is this, 20? It was within the last 2 years, right? I was sitting around, I was watching TV, just flipping through the channels, and I saw a match between it's like CM Punk and Alberto Del Rio to promote it had something to do with an upcoming Money in the Bank match. And like Rey Mysterio interfered in the match. I was like, I don't know how old this thing is, but like this is not new at all. Like to be showing anything with CM Punk in it in like 2018 or 2019.
Right. I
was like, I don't know what channel this is, but like this is definitely a dated show.
That's some rewind stuff there.
Yeah, because they showed that match, and then there's like somebody talked about some stuff for a little while, and then they showed some other random match. I'm like, this doesn't even have anything to do with anything. Like it's not good, you know. It's not like one of those matches where, oh, remember that one time on SmackDown where they had that ladder match with Benoit and Jericho?
Mm-hmm.
And that.
It'll never be like that again, man.
Hey, did either of you guys watch the Dark Side of the Ring episode about Chris Benoit?
Yeah, I did.
No, I haven't watched it, and I need to actually watch it too, man, because I was a big Benoit fan, bro. So I definitely wanted to know a lot of the backstory of what was going on.
Yeah, man, definitely watch that. Like, have you? There was a time I had it on my Dropbox account. If I still have it in there, I'll send you the link, and you can just download the video like that.
Okay.
But man,
that definitely was like, if you don't see any of them, that's definitely the one you need to watch. That 2-part.
That one, and then I would also definitely suggest the one about Jimmy Snuka, because that was crazy. Like him and that girl. Well, Liz, I think was her name.
Yeah.
But man, like both of those stories, like the Benoit one, because like again, like you were saying, like I was a big fan of the dude, and it's like I get why they kind of like disowned him, if you want to call it that, but at the same time, it's like it's not like he just went home mad one day and just did all that.
Right.
That was like years of him like having like head trauma, and he just
getting those type of bumps and stuff with them headbutts, like.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, there were definitely layers on top of like that for him to get in that condition like that. And then it was what it was, Eddie dying. That had a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, because I didn't realize they were so close and stuff.
Yeah.
But like, I won't get all into the episode so that way you can, when you watch it, you know, fresh for you. But overall, though, like that show, I haven't finished the second season because there's an episode about Owen Hart on there that I want to see. There's an episode about
Are these like documentaries about these wrestlers, or it's just something else?
So this season they had Chris Jericho doing a lot of like the narrating and stuff, but they would have like family members of the people talking about things. So it's a documentary. Like the Benoit one, like his son is in there, his wife's sister is in there, Jericho's in there. You know, I think Vicky Guerrero was in there.
Jim Ross was in there.
Yeah, so they get people that, you know, that are in there just to say their piece of it, not just to say what people want to hear, but to really just kind of give you like more stuff to think about when you hear the name Chris Benoit. And I can't remember what the
Brawl for All.
The Brawl for All episode.
Yeah,
the Brawl for All episode was good too because I didn't know any of that stuff. I just knew that it.
So they breaking. That's kind of like how that Eric Bischoff like podcast stuff be. Like
Yeah.
I guess like
Yeah.
I know he had like a podcast on YouTube and he be talking about a lot of stuff that was behind the scenes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The 83 weeks one.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's very much like that. It's just an hour focused on the New Jack episode. The New Jack episode.
That dude crazy.
Like, from what I've seen, I've only seen this season. Well, some episodes of this season. That whole show is. I need to. After this, I'm gonna have to double check and see which all episodes I have because that's they're only like an hour long. You know what I'm saying? But
yeah,
they're good. They're definitely good, and they just got renewed for a third season.
Where I could go and watch that though?
I don't know because
I don't know what channel it was. I know I got sent the link. I had got sent the link from YouTube
because like
they had a whole channel for it.
Because what was that channel? What was that show called? Something.
Vice TV.
Vice TV, yeah.
Dang, I remember Vice TV. That was like way back in the day though.
Mm-hmm.
Because some of them were on YouTube. I think the Benoit one might have debuted on YouTube, at least initially.
I remember it being on YouTube. I don't know what channel it was, but I know it was on YouTube though. If it still is.
It might have was Vice. Yeah, it probably was their YouTube page because I think that one in Brawlfall they put on YouTube.
But I'm gonna have to see because like I'm sure like some channels in some places have it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I just don't know.
You send me that link through on IG, man, and I'm definitely like when we get off, I'm because I'm just chilling right now. So I'm just gonna watch that Chris Benoit one.
Yeah, like that was a 2-part, wasn't it, Shoe?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, I think that was a 2-part episode.
Now, did y'all watch the one? I think it was on ESPN, if I ain't mistaken. I think they was talking about the Undertaker. Was it Undertaker?
He had a few came out recently.
I know they had that. Excuse me. I know they had that last ride.
Yeah. I know a lot of people told me that was pretty good too.
I thought they had another one also.
And they got 3 more coming out at the end of the month.
Really?
Yeah. One's gonna be on the 31st or the 22nd, the 27th. Then another one's gonna be on the 10th, and I think the 10th of next month and the 15th of next month.
Man, yeah, I need to definitely need to see what's going on with some of those other things then, so I can get all caught up because a lot of those wrestling documentaries are really good. Honestly. Yeah. Because even if you don't like when my dad came up and we watched the Stone Cold with Mark Henry, like the Broken Skull sessions. He's not like a wrestling guy, but even he was into that. You know what I'm saying? Hey, Double E, what's going on, man?
What up, Double E?
But yeah, like even he's not into wrestling, but like listening to Mark Henry's story that'll entertain anybody. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Even if because he knew him from like the Olympics, because he used to pay attention to like weightlifting and all that stuff.
Right.
So he knew the name, but like when he saw him talk about like his growing up and like getting into the business and staying in the business and all that stuff, like that kind of stuff will just interest anybody.
I would have loved to hear that. I would have loved to hear that story about him about the hurt, put the hurt on Michael Jordan.
Yeah, I watched that stuff on Vlad TV when he was on there. He was talking about it, and I was like, "Damn!" I'm like, MJ. I know MJ for a fact didn't want those type of problems.
Oh no, that would have been disastrous for him.
He would have ended his whole 5th and 6th reign.
I don't think MJ wanted that. Bro.
No, that Olympics game would have gone differently. Possibly. That's well. I mean, USA still holds it down over other countries, but still.
Nah, we had a slow period for a while.
It wouldn't have been a walk in the park.
Yeah,
that's to that. But man, yeah, it's. I'm gonna have to do that. See some of these other documentaries and whatnot. But yeah, like the Stone Cold one is good. Even sometimes like the podcast when they like I haven't listened to it in a long time, but Jericho's podcast can be pretty good if he the right people on there. Who else? I haven't really listened to a lot of the Jim Ross one, but I'm sure that's solid. I don't even know if he's
Edge and Christian haven't did a podcast in a while because I used to listen to theirs too.
Oh, Taz had one. I don't remember which episode I listened to, but his was really good.
I haven't heard Taz's name in so long. I know. Ain't he like a commentator for somebody else?
AEW, yeah.
Okay.
Well, he's a commentator. He might commentate on like one match like a week or something like that because he's a manager of somebody. So when his wrestler is wrestling, he'll often do commentary. So it's just kind of one of those things, you know.
I used to like him. Yeah, I used to like him as a commentator, bro. Like, you know, especially when I was watching SmackDown. Like, I didn't really care for Michael Cole that much, but I always felt like he had good knowledge about wrestling.
Yeah, he was. It's one of those things where when you hear certain people talk, cause like when you have those multi-person commentary teams, whatever,
right?
You'll have somebody that knows about wrestling to like kind of add that layer of it. It's like, oh, see, the reason he's torquing this elbow is to do this, and then you have like the Bobby Heenan type guys that are there just to kind of, you know, give you some laughs or whatever. And then you have like the guy in the middle that's just trying to keep the story moving.
It ain't gonna be nothing better than JR and the King, bro. That man, just those two on commentary, bro, like, which is legendary, bro. Like, bro, that dude King used to always have me rolling, bro.
That was the duo right there. I mean, like I know, like don't get me wrong, I like Bobby Heenan because he was just funny. You know what I'm saying? He would say some things that were just like off the wall that you wouldn't even think about.
Right.
But that duo of, like you said, the King and Lawler, especially like growing up in like the right time frame, like that's just like the sound that goes with so many big moments that I watched. So like, I was able to.
JR gets off script every now and then. He killed him.
I was able to see Jim Ross, because he did a show in WrestleMania 33, so in Orlando. Yeah, because like and he was saying, you know, I can't get into like what I've been asked to do or where else I'll be performing this weekend, but if you happen to, you know, be watching WrestleMania and you see Undertaker's match tomorrow, you might hear a familiar voice. I was like, what? Like Undertaker's Jim Ross is gonna be commentating during that? So, you know, they paid him off just to do like that one match or whatever, which I wanted to go back and watch it because I like to hear Jim Ross. But at the same time, when I saw that match live, I did not want to see it ever again. Because Undertaker and Roman Reigns it didn't have high replay value.
Right.
Not at all.
Yeah, I mean, Taker was basically a shell of himself at that time.
Yeah, I mean, and it's not even because he lost. You know, it was just
how he lost.
Yeah. Though he came back next year in New Orleans and, you know, made short work of John Cena, which he was mad about because he's like, I put in all this effort. Like I could have gone 30 minutes. I did 3. So
yeah,
still got paid.
Yeah, I mean it's a mess, bro. Because I mean you like look at like the older matches they had like back when. You know what I'm saying? They shoot the matches back then wasn't really that good in my opinion. But I mean you would want to have seen an Undertaker and John Cena match at this point of their careers. You know what I'm saying? But I don't like how the fact that they just bury. Well, I don't know if you want to call it buried because I don't think you can bury John Cena, but you know, I just ain't like the fact that it didn't go on that long. Like my daughter, she was watching and she was upset. Like she thought John Cena get tombstone and took the 1, 2, 3.
Well,
She was
I
so
mean,
devastated. She was devastated. She just looked at me, and I
I
was
will
like,
say this:
"Damn,
Undertaker has put over more superstars than John Cena probably has in his career.
that's facts."
Yeah,
Because
he's been.
Bray Wyatt was the perfect example of somebody that should have gained from Cena, but actually got buried by him.
Yeah,
That's
Undertaker has been very selfless.
Yeah.
I was trying to make sure I didn't say selfish, but
Yeah,
like over the years, because he's been in the ring with everybody, and
right.
I think he
Like I've
knows.
always thought about, like it was Royal Rumble. I want to say that was 2008 or 9.
Mhm.
Was it a Royal Rumble? Or was it No Way Out? I think it was No Way Out with him and Kurt Angle. I'm like, everything in me wanted Taker to have the title, but I think Taker like put Kurt over so well to transition him to WrestleMania for that triple threat that they had after that.
Because it's about looking at the big picture, and
Mhm.
I mean, it's like when I saw Mankind a while ago, and he was talking about this how he had matches and he lost them. Also, it just came out. Vader was another masked wrestler that I liked, but
Yeah.
I was watching him like Mankind talk about stuff. He's like, yeah, like I went on, I had this great match with so and so, but yeah, I mean, I lost because I'm Mankind and I lose matches.
Right.
And he made a joke about it, but it's like he did lose a lot, but overall, it didn't seem to affect him as far as his status and like the company or whatever. Is like because he stayed relevant. You know what I'm saying? Like because you can lose, and if you lose, it's all in how you lose, I guess. And as long as you still get some wins once in a while.
I think Taker had more interference losses. Like interference happens in his losses and DQs than probably anybody.
Yeah.
Mm.
But and I'm not going to take away from that. Definitely won't. But he also was willing to just do some like, all right, I'll take the super kick, 1, 2, 3, and.
But I'm popping back up like after this.
Yeah. Next month, though. Next month. Like,
yeah.
Just be ready for what's coming. But like but back to this the Cena Undertaker thing. Given that Cena can put on some solid matches when he wants to, like him and was that 2017 Undertaker?
Yeah.
If they had put on like a 20-minute match, I think it would have been like a solid candidate for like match of the year or something. Because Undertaker,
I believe that definitely would have been dope. Like, cause I remember, like, I know when Undertaker won that U.S. title, and he really made that U.S. title pretty big at that time period, man. Cause it was booming. But like all them good matches, man, he had like with Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Dolph Ziggler, a lot of them, man. Like, bro, you could tell. John Cena could do way more, bro. It's I guess it's what just the back, like, wanted him to do, like, or whatever, like. But we could see that John Cena could actually put on a good show when he wanted to.
Right.
Especially with the in-ring, or excuse me, on the microphone stuff too, because like when people were, I'm sure you probably remember when people say, oh, well, you should let other people start talking. And so then he had that thing with Roman Reigns where I guess Roman Reigns didn't have any script to go by, and it showed.
That was horrible, bro. That was so horrible. Like, it made you really look at John Cena like, yeah, John Cena is really a GOAT on this mic, bro. Like,
yeah. Because like was before WrestleMania, he went out there, crowd boos him, he gets them on his side while he's talking about like stepping away, and they're like, wait, he's what? And then the Fiend shows up and they're like, oh man, it's gonna happen. Like then all of a sudden everybody's happy again. So he gets that crowd in the palm of his hand every time.
Exactly.
And not everybody can do that.
Well, I mean, I think it had more to do with like, the older Attitude Era wrestling fans just not liking Cena for the most part. Because people think Cena is a kid's champion. Like he's the person that all 8-year-olds and 4-year-olds and people who still eating Fruity Pebbles like.
Let's be honest though, like let's be honest, bro. All those fans that was like on him, bro, they know they was messing with him around that time with the ruthless aggression.
Oh
like,
yeah.
Oh, they was loving him, man.
When he was doing like
when he went PG, they just didn't vibe with it no more.
Well, yeah. Oh yeah, you definitely right about that.
That's like because there's John Cena back then when he was doing like his the rap intros and all that stuff.
That's so legendary.
You could not be into that.
And I wish he would have kept going with it though, honestly. But I know when you a wrestler, you got to kind of like evolve, and do something else. That's how Chris Jericho been so,
relevant.
Because he always evolves his character every time.
Well, and I got to credit Taker for that too, because I think he had a good sense of, okay, this is only going to last so long. As far as the character is concerned, he did the American Badass, and then went back, to do the Phenom. So I think he kind of had a keen eye for that too.
Hey, I don't know about y'all, but I thought I would prefer the American Badass over the Dead Man. I just like the American Badass a lot better.
I think it fitted better for the time. I'll say that.
Let me find this picture because they had this not Undertaker, the John Cena figure that's coming up. It's got the ruthless aggression style there, and he comes with the spinner belt. So
I think I had found that when I sent that to you in the text. A version of it. I forgot what jersey he had on though.
Yeah, because I know they've had a couple similar ones, but I saw that one.
He had the Yankees jersey on.
It's like, man, I might have to check into that one. It's looking pretty good,
Yeah, I remember that T-shirt. That was when he came back from the Royal Rumble, huh?
Yeah, I think that was. And I think he threw Triple H over the road.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they know. I don't know. It's like when somebody goes away, that's when they like to bring out those figures and get you back in there.
I mean, they're milking Undertaker right now. I think he got a wine coming out now.
Say what?
And the Ultimate Warrior too.
Yeah, him and Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
Was like, what is this?
Is a water or a wine?
A wine.
Wine? Oh Lord.
Yeah, I forgot about that. I think Chris Jericho's champagne is still in stock or something too.
Oh man, I would have thought Undertaker is more of a cognac person.
And I don't know what I would have imagined him drinking. Something that's dusty that no one else is trying to touch.
Bruh.
Cognac and tobacco. Doing tobacco.
Man, yeah, that's I mean, it's marketing, you know what I'm saying? Like,
oh man, I remember he made Tommy Dreamer drink that too one time, bro. That tobacco spit.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, Oh Lord.
Tommy Dreamer's extreme like that.
So, I ain't that extreme.
See, I guess I don't know if his phone died or what. He just kind of fell out there.
Yeah.
But man, there's
Tommy Dreamer took some chances, bro.
Tommy Dreamer is like when I look at some of these guys, right, and I just think about like when I think about how injured some of these people have to be at this point. Tommy Dreamer, he's up there. The Dudley Boys. It's like I feel like if you've seen Matt Hardy walk in the last year, like that looks painful.
Matt Hardy can't even bend his arm all the way, bro. Like he always walked with like a slight. Hold on. Like he always walks like he's bending his arm.
Like when
It's always like this for the most part.
I have to look at that because I mean I'm not surprised though. But like when I saw him, like let's see, I was down visiting my parents in 2018, and so I was like, "Hey mom, let's go to this wrestling show. They're going to be at the Charleston Coliseum or whatever it was." And that was around the time when all the rumors were going around that Matt Hardy was banged up and was probably going to retire.
Right.
He was doing his little team with Bray Wyatt at the time. And so I'm like, okay, you know what? Like seeing this man right now as he's walking right here in front of me, basically, like, yeah, it probably is a good idea for him to move on to something else.
Right.
And again, this was like 2 years ago and he's still out there. So it's probably hard, you know what I'm saying? To walk away from
I get it. I get it, but I mean, like I said, at the end of the day, sometimes you just gotta listen to your body.
Oh yeah, I'm not gonna argue that. It's like
after that, after that Sammy Guerrero incident with the chair, I was like, man,
and then
like,
then the concussion, like 2 weeks later.
I was like, you need to cut it short, bro.
Yeah, it's like just call it quits, move on. I still can't believe they let that match go. Dude fell off like a 10 to 15 foot drop onto the floor, no table, just like hit his head like on the floor and fumbled his way through the next like 15 minutes of that match. It was terrible.
Somebody else had a concussion in AEW and they just like let the match go.
I mean, I don't like I think possibly this past week, but that one, it was visible. You know, like you could tell, like dude was completely unconscious on the ground for a minute, and then when he got up, he was like barely moving.
I thought his neck was broke. Just how after I seen him on the leg, after the Young Bucks leg drop, I was like, "Is his neck broke?"
Yeah, it was rough just watching that. But
then he got dragged in the corner. He held his hand up to tag him in and everything. I was like, oh man, bro, somebody need to call this match, bro.
That's like, who was it? Kurt Angle when he fought Triple H and he took that pedigree through the table.
Yeah.
They really just fell through the table.
Yeah, the table collapsed underneath him.
Yeah, and
was
then
that the one where he messed up his quads?
No, that was Jericho and Triple H.
Okay, yeah. Okay.
This was like they were on the table for Triple H to pedigree Kurt, but like the table broke. But as it broke, Triple H had his arms locked, like for the pedigree, and so he couldn't like get free in time to like Kurt couldn't get free in time to like stop to brace the fall. So he just hit his face right on the floor, and then he had a concussion, and then after that, or either that or he broke something in his neck too. Something, it was bad. And then he said like through the whole rest of the match, Triple H just basically walked him through everything. And they showed a part where he was supposed to like duck a clothesline or something, and Triple H knew that he couldn't do it, so he like threw his head down as he threw the clothesline at the same time, just to make sure he didn't hit Kurt. I was like, man, like their work protocol was very different back then.
Right. I mean, remember Kurt broke Hardcore Holly's arm with that moonsault.
Yeah, but he even said in the interview, like in those days, if you found a doctor to say that you were good, that's all they needed to hear. So you could go to any doctor and just be like, hey, how much might it cost to get this clearance letter from you?
Yeah, that I think that's the Daniel Bryan route he took.
And sure enough, now they have like other testing and stuff, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It is what it is, I guess.
Yeah. Can you say, well, back in the day, if you're off TV for a week, like you're already out of everybody's mind.
Yeah, that, and even if when you come back, like Daniel Bryan came back, was that at the WrestleMania New Orleans? 33?
Yeah.
Or was it not?
No, it wasn't. It was after.
Okay. Because I just remember he came back in a tag match with like Shane McMahon or something.
That was, I want to say that was Survivor Series or something.
Because was there another? Maybe I'm thinking of a different comeback. I thought somebody made a comeback at like WrestleMania 34.
Oh, I think it was 34. He did come back.
I mean, it could have been somebody else though, because I just feel like it was somebody's first match in a while or first match ever.
I have to look at.
No, it was okay. Daniel Bryan and Shane McMahon with going against Owens and Zayn.
Right.
So I guess that was it. For some reason, I felt like Daniel Bryan had been gone longer than 3 years or something.
Yeah, it did feel longer. Because I mean, right after he won the title, I think he had to. No, wait, it was about a year later. Because he had won the U.S. title after that.
And just scrolling through that card real quick, completely forgot Jinder Mahal was even a person.
Is he still with the company?
I think I saw him on TV within the last 3 months. I was on Raw, like doing one of those little virtual seat things, like 3 weeks ago, and I saw Titus O'Neil on Main Event. I'm like, what? you guys are definitely out of people at this point. Bring back Titus O'Neil. Nothing against him, but I'm just saying, like, he's one of those people that disappeared and nobody noticed.
Titus worldwide.
I mean, I got nothing against the guy. Just some people just don't stand out. Might be his fault. Might be the way he was booked. I don't know.
Vince might be still mad with him. Who knows?
Oh yeah, I remember that whole thing. Oh, but hey, it's probably been on here for a good while. Probably gonna get this wrapped up so I can get a little something to eat and find these Dark Side of the Ring episodes. See where I am, because like I said, I think I might watch one of those today. See where I left off, and then get that link over to you. But I appreciate you stopping in with the sneakers. Always do.
No problem, man. And, I ain't watching wrestling like that all the time like I used to, but hey, I know a little bit of history.
and that's what it's about, the history.
And lots of times when we do these, like, I try to keep it somewhat open because, like Halloween Havoc, and we're talking about masked wrestlers or whatever because it's Halloween. But like the stuff right now is whatever. There's a whole bunch of people, like, again, bringing up like Vader and Demolition and the Road Warriors and all this stuff. Like, there's a whole bunch of names worth bringing up that everybody can jump in on, Or like
I got another masked wrestler, bro. That's iconic.
What's that?
The Ring Master.
Oh yeah, I forgot all about the Ring Master.
Man, I'm sure all the names are gonna hit me later, but yeah, that's the thing. There's so many people out there, and like last month we did tag teams where we just talked about like some of our favorite tag teams, right?
Mm-hmm.
So way back to like, you can bring up Harlem Heat or whatever. You can go back to like Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard. You can talk about the Young Bucks,
Oh yeah.
It's just like I would like to talk about wrestling, but I don't want to like have it too confined. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So yeah. So we do this every so often, every month, whatever. And then I think the next live that I'll be doing will be the sneaker recap for October, release recap. So it might be this coming Sunday. If not, it will be the next Sunday. So I know you about the sneakers. I know from talking to you in the past, your work schedule is a little all over the place. But if you're available, I'll let you know.
Yeah. Hey, shoot, if I'm free, man, I'll definitely come in. I'll let you know, but I'll let you know beforehand, though, man.
Okay. I'll get with Jezzy later. We'll figure out what day works best for us, and then I'll let you know.
All right, for sure.
All right, but it'll be the same time, 1 p.m. Eastern, so 12 Central.
Yeah.
But for now, we'll go ahead and get this thing wrapped up. You know, if you guys want to shout out yourselves, tell people where they can find you, all that good stuff.
Yeah, you as before. Appreciate you having me on Shoes Up, Sleeves Down. You can find me at Jezzy Christ, aka Thriller, on YouTube, and you can find me at Jezzy Christ 504 on Instagram as well. Shoe reviews, clothing hauls, figure reviews, collectibles, you name it, I got it. And I also will be getting into doing my other vlogs as well. If you subscribe, appreciate y'all tuning in. And if you're not and you're new to the channel, definitely hope y'all enjoy the content. And as always, stay true, stay fly, stay blessed. And I'm JC Baby, and I'm out.
All right. What the sneakers?
Hey man, it's your boy What the Sneakers. You know, you catch me on IG, What the _sneakers, YouTube, What the Sneakers. Appreciate Shoes Up, Sleeves Down, letting me on. You know, it's always good to kick it with the bros, Jeezy. Like I said, man, y'all make sure y'all sub up to everybody. And just watch out for the next live and next video.
All right, yeah. So appreciate you guys coming through. Like I said, anytime somebody can like devote to helping me get through a live, or whatever, definitely appreciate that.
Oh,
and
always.
Of course, you're always welcome. You know, just stop in. I try to usually keep the links in the chats or in the description or something. So, and then every so often I do the, you know, just like a random Wednesdays, Thursday night. I might just jump on just because I'm bored. So who knows? Who knows? But all right, for now, I'm going to get things wrapped up. So have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. And we'll see you later.
All right. Salute, everybody.